And I'm here with my dear friend, Brother Snapp, who, in my opinion, one of the very best when it comes to manuscripts, when it comes to scholarly work in this realm. Brother Snapp does work that is unparalleled. I think that is why a lot of people won't debate the Brother Snapp. They won't touch him with a 100-foot pole. He does great work against the liberal scholarship. I am thrilled to have him here, joined with me. And I want to, in just a moment, before we begin with the Brother Snapp's presentation, we'll go into a prayer. But I do want to ask the Brother Snapp, I want to ask you, brother, how have you been, my friend?
I've been well. My elocution continues to improve since the stroke.
I can tell.
It's up, not 100%, but it is coming along.
You're doing way better, continually improving over and over, and that is wonderful. You look great. You look healthy. You've been taking care of yourself, haven't you? Yeah, there we go. You been going to the gym, brother? You're doing cardio? What are you doing? Taking care?
Just a home gym.
There you go. Oh my goodness, that's awesome. That's great, brother. And that's fantastic. In fact, I had a magnificent workout earlier. So you're staying fit. You're staying fit for the kingdom, and I think part of that is you're also well. Before we dive in, I want to begin with a prayer. I'm going to begin with a Trinitarian prayer. I'm going to say, Lord, thank you for allowing us to gather here. For me to gather with my dear brother Snapp yet again. We've done multiple shows. Allow the truth to be spoken, the truth found in your inerrant word. Indeed, that inerrant word that the brother Snapp so strongly defends. He defends with all of his might, all of his strength, and his true love. Lord, allow our tongues to be untied. Allow us to honor you. Allow us to worship you, our triune God, and allow us to crush and defeat any kind of dastardly heresy that tries to tear down the faithful. Lord, we ask all of this in the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Lord, thank you and protect this session. Brother Snapp, my friend, great to be here with you again. Seems to me that there's a controversy going on, and you are here, scorched earth, ready to take out liberal scholarship yet again. Brother, can you lay it out? What has been going on?
You would think that after having had my books available online for 99 cents, that any scholar in the world could have access to them.
Yeah.
But apparently, at a company called Crossway, the makers of the ESV, at Crossway, one of the Bible editors posted last week, on May 17th, he posted an article saying that Mark 16:20, saying that he could state with confidence that these verses were not part of Mark's gospel.
Yeah. And
he went on to say that Mark 16:20 was not part of the gospel of Mark until after AD 190, which of course is impossible. So I have here a snapshot of D.S. O'Donnell. That's Douglas Sean O'Donnell. And we tried to get him on the show, but although you sent him emails and I've tried to contact him repeatedly, he's obviously not here.
Yeah, no, he is not. And I want to be very clear for the audience that we tried to get him on. I contacted him. I reached out to a number of people trying to see if they could also get him on, including a very good brother that does very good work, that helps set up shows for me, also reached out. And unfortunately, really it all amounts to the fact that he's wanted. He won't appear. And I was very clear when I reached out to him and I told him, look, I am a very fair moderator. I'm unbiased. I've moderated debates with people from all different kinds of faith backgrounds. I'll give you a fair platform to speak your mind, to defend your particular thesis that you put forth. And well, unfortunately, we heard nothing back from him. And that's an unfortunate thing, because we did offer him the opportunity to defend himself, to defend his thesis on a platform which we have almost 40,000 subs here already. By the grace of God, he had his chance to come and defend his thesis. And brother, there's just been crickets on the other end. Why do you think that's the case?
These Crossway editors, they're very, very busy people. They can have time to post sermons that have these claims, but apparently they don't have time to correct them when they're proven wrong.
Mm-hmm.
James R. White is in the same category.
Right. Yeah.
Now, James R. White, I tried to call his show this past week earlier, and once again, his partner in crime, Richard Pierce, prevents me from engaging James R. White.
Wow. Wow.
Now here is a picture of James R. White. He's saying that the church of the first few centuries, or you can read it for yourself.
Yeah, let me read it for you, brother.
Papyrus manuscripts didn't
Yeah.
have this part of the scriptures. Now,
Yeah, that really is shocking that he says that. Now, I want to be very clear here. You have, for multiple years, offered to debate James White on this topic. Is that correct?
Yes. In 2019, I said I would debate him anywhere, any place, anytime, and that also still stands.
Yeah, that challenge that you've laid down still stands, as I understand it. And James White has not responded. I don't think he's going to respond ever. And the one thing that I have noticed more than anything else is that when you attempt to get these people to defend their thesis, to defend their particular arguments that they put forth, is that rather than facing people that are competent in their field, they will not only avoid them like the plague, but they will try and discredit them. And that has been the case with James White for a very long time. He will avoid debating people that he knows are very proficient in their field. You are one of the top of the very top in your field, and he has avoided debating you. You've put that challenge down for quite some time.
Yes,
and he's made a very sloppy statement. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
The challenge has been made for over 3 years, going on 4 now, and still James White and his partner in crime, Richard Pierce, will not respond.
Yeah.
I've not heard a whisper. I've not seen a trace of effort being made to respond to my offer. And various others have said, we would like to see this debate happen. So it's not as if there's no market for it. Yeah. James White simply is basically going, bark, 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 bark.
Yeah. No, yeah, that truly is the case.
Put it in the common vernacular.
Yeah, that's correct.
To
put it in the language that he's very well aware of, his kind of speak. I agree with you 100%. Now, I agree that people, very often scholars are very busy, but if you're going to put forth a thesis like this in your published material, you better be ready to defend it. I mean, in my opinion, you better be ready to defend it. And, I find it problematic that this particular gentleman here has made that claim, such as this particular claim from James White, that the church of the first 3 centuries that produced those vitally important papyrus manuscripts didn't have longer ending of Mark as part of their scriptures. Now, we know very well the longer ending of Mark includes extra material, including that of the bodily resurrection, the Gospel of St. Mark. But we know very well that James White and this other gentleman, I believe his last name is McDonald, right?
O'Donnell, yes.
O'Donnell, my bad. O'Donnell and James White. We know that they're very wrong. And as you pointed out, your books are incredibly affordable on Amazon. Very, very affordable for the amount of meaty material you have in there. But there you go. What a beautiful book there. Is that your latest one?
This is one of my latest ones. I have about 5 that can be purchased on Amazon. Or if you go to my website, if you go to my website, NewTestamentTextualAnalysis.com, they're all available there.
Oh, they are. Wow. Now, in those books that you've authored, that you've done an incredible job of putting together, you pointed out that James White and O'Donnell are incorrect. Because How could they be correct if you've got a figure like the magnificent doctor of the church, St. Irenaeus, quoting from longer ending of Mark, as you pointed out? Isn't that right?
Yes. If you have the slide where I have Irenaeus' quote there, or I happen to have it right here.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find that.
Irenaeus against heresies.
Do you remember what slide that was? Let me see if I can find that slide. I'll find it. No worries. Let me see.
But I'm looking in Against the Heresies, Book 3.
Yeah.
I'm in chapter 10. On toward the end. Irenaeus says,
What was that again? Against heresies? Which one, brother?
Against Heresies, Book 3, chapter 10.
Gotcha.
Now, various editors have paragraphed it differently. So in this edition, it's in paragraph 6.
Okay.
Toward the end of his gospel, Mark says, So then, the Lord Jesus, after he had spoken to them, was taken up to heaven and sits at the right hand of God. Thus he confirms what the prophet has said. The Lord said to my Lord, that he's quoting here from Psalm 110, Sit at my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool. But there we have it, from Irenaeus Against Heresies, Book 3, chapter 10, paragraph 6.
Yeah.
Mark says, So then the Lord Jesus, after he had spoken to them, was taken up to heaven and sat at the right hand of God. That is verse 19. So you have it right there from Irenaeus. Well, this is in English translation, that he knew in his copy of Mark. We have the what is known as the longer ending, which I don't call it longer ending. I call it Mark 16, 19-20.
Yeah, correct. Because it
I
belongs there.
I think the only reason to call it longer ending that these people have is so that they can draw into question and say, oh, there's also a shorter ending. Well, Mark 16 through 20 is in 1,650 manuscripts and counting.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
the short ending, as far as Greek is concerned, is in only 8 manuscripts. And all 8 of those have a common transmission stream. They're all connected. If you go to my blog, I've shown this in numerous ways. And it's also documented in my book, which is my book that's just about this particular variant is Authentic, the Case for Mark 16, 19-20. I think you have a copy of that, of the cover?
Yeah, let me pull that up. What was the name of that book again, brother? What was the name of it?
Authentic, the Case for Mark 16, 19-20, 4th edition.
Got it right here.
Now, the 3rd edition is still available for 99 cents.
Here we go.
This one is available for, I think, $20 or so.
Wonderful. And you have let me ask you, for this edition, you've updated this edition. What can we find in this updated edition that perhaps was not available in the 3rd edition?
Well, one thing you can find is the testimony of Palladius of Ratiaria. He was a bishop, not one of the good guys. He's one of the bad guys, a heretic. Mm-hmm. But Palladius, his quote is very clearly from Mark 16, 20, and he quotes Mark 16:19 very clearly. But his quote has not been recorded by Bruce Lecture, by the UBS Greek New Testament. As far as I know, the only place you get this information is in my book.
Wow.
Palladius of Ratiaria. That is a, 4th century scholar, a writer.
Right. So that's a new and unique translation that you've got there in your book.
It's a patristic reference.
Yes, that's quite fascinating. Yeah, I'm not aware of that anywhere else.
It's been known about since 1899, but neither Bruce Mesker or the UBS or the National Island bothers to mention it. A 4th century witness, and they don't mention it.
I'm wondering why they pass over that. Maybe because maybe you think they're not aware of it, or they just haven't continued doing research into the field. What do you think?
Well, like I said, it's been known since 1899. So I think the battleship is just having a little trouble getting turned around.
Yeah, it's been known since then. Then there really is no good reason.
They only had a history to update the book.
Yeah, That's great that so you're constantly updating and looking for new material. That really does
Yes.
show
Yes.
why.
Also, since the previous edition, 2 more manuscripts have been found with the shorter ending. Now, both of them have 16 through 20, but
Yeah.
the number of Greek manuscripts with the shorter ending has risen from 6 to 8. So I updated accordingly.
That's incredible, and really does show your incredible proficiency in the field, that you continue updating this scholarship. Now, another thing I'd like to add, it's important to point out, is that Saint Irenaeus is a very early figure. We talked about him a little while ago. A very, very early figure, and very important patristic pillar, as I like to call them. I don't know what a modern day liberal scholar is going to do about St. Irenaeus. How do they answer that? Do they dismiss that? What do they do?
Oh, Craig Evans, who is not a liberal, he's a conservative, really, but he's very misinformed. Now, like Mr. O'Donnell here, Dr. O'Donnell, Dr. Craig Evans is very misinformed. But being misinformed, he then goes on to misinform other people.
Yep.
And Craig Evans was guilty of trying to say, "Oh, Irenaeus, yeah, he quotes it, but maybe that was just added on by a Latin translator." But you can see in manuscript 1582 and manuscript 72 and another manuscript, there's a note in Greek in the margin that says Irenaeus, in his third book of Against Heresies, he lived close to the apostles, and he quoted this verse.
Yeah.
Of this part of Mark 16:19, like I just read. So
that is quite significant.
Yes, it is. Because Irenaeus was a very broad figure in terms of his geographic range. He grew up in Asia Minor, and then he was bishop in Lugdunum in Gaul, but also he had visited in Rome, where the Gospel of Mark was written.
Yeah.
So he would have had access to copies that were copied from the original of Mark.
Right. Yeah. That's a great point that you bring up.
Now, also, it is important to realize that in terms of evidence against Mark 16:20, you basically have 2 manuscripts. So all those footnotes in your ESVs or NLTs that say some, when they say some manuscripts are missing this, it totals 2. Mm-hmm. Now, manuscript 304 on the Evangelical Textual Criticism blog, others have agreed with my analysis that 304 is not a valid witness against Mark 16:20. It does end at verse 8, but there's so many quirks about it because it includes the commentary of Theophylact.
Right.
And in Theophylact's full commentary, he comments on verses 9 through 20. And in 304, it's either copied from a damaged copy, or it's a part of a 2-volume set of commentaries where you have here's Matthew and Mark, here's Luke and John, and because of the way the pages just turned out in the folios, the last part of Mark got into the second volume instead of the first. So, in terms of is Irenaeus not evidence? Of course it is. Craig Evans is simply mistaken about that. And being mistaken, he should come forth and say, I was mistaken. He shouldn't let his mistakes be thrown out far and wide. And then 30 or 40 years later, somebody comes along and says, oh, we should get around to correcting this. I say, Craig Evans, I challenge you, I invite you, I plead with you, please stop misinforming people. You yourself are misinformed. Stop misinforming others. Admit your mistake, retract your error, and we can all be friends.
Yeah, that really is step number 1, to admit when you have committed an egregious error. And that really would be the Christian thing to do. And
right.
the
I'm not trying to destroy these people's work. I'm trying to improve the work.
No doubt. But their work, on the other hand, is indicative of work that can destroy one's faith.
Well, in terms of what do they do with Mark 16:20, you can look at his article is still online. You can go to the Crossway website right now and find it, where he tries to tell people that Mark 16:20 wasn't part of the Gospel of Mark until after AD 190.
Yeah.
Which, of course, is impossible.
Which is also problematic, which is shocking that this seems to be something that continues to get put forth, and it just really is unfortunate.
Well, here he is. This screenshot I took from one of his online sermons.
Yeah.
Read that for him carefully.
Yeah, let me read it. Mark 16, 9-20, O'Donnell says, is not mentioned in the writings of many early Christians, such as Clement of Alexandria, Origen, Eusebius, or Jerome. And I got to agree with you. As you say, as you point out, this kind of pathetic, shallow Metzger parodying has been allowed to pass for scholarship in American evangelicalism long enough. Can you maybe break that down, brother? What is up with this? And is he right or is he wrong about this?
What has happened is, in Bruce Metzger's first edition, he said that Clement, Origen, and Eusebius had no knowledge of these 12 verses.
Yeah.
Now, in a later edition, he corrected that, or sort of corrected it, by taking out the word Eusebius and putting the word Ammonius, which still makes no sense, because we have no witness of Ammonius, what his copy of Mark looked like.
Sure.
Ammonius is a phantom witness. But D.S. O'Donnell here is apparently still using Metzger's first edition and has never bothered looking into the updated edition.
Yeah.
And so the error continues to be promulgated to this day, as it was on May 17th at the Crossway website. I've invited the Crossway editors to please take down and retract his false statement, because it is demonstrably false. It's not a matter of opinion. I'll argue with his theology. He's a great theologian, let's say. But his grasp of the evidence is sorely lacking.
Have they responded to you after you've asked them?
I've got nothing but critics from Crossway.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
And
not sure.
that is after calling them repeatedly to try to get an answer from D.S. O'Donnell.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's very high up in the ivory tower.
Yeah, those ivory towers really don't do a whole lot of good a lot of the time. So when individuals can hide in them, all the while peddling their, as you point out, shallow scholarship, the very poor and shoddy scholarship, as we find very often, that does come from the liberal end of academia. Look, this is one thing I've always pointed out is people shouldn't be bowing the knee to academia. You got to do your homework. You got to double, triple check everything. Look at good scholarly sources. Look at more than just one. Don't take any particular scholar's word for it, because they don't walk on water. And very often they hide from criticism. And very often they will not address other individuals that are more capable and more proficient than them in the field in which you're working on, such as Brother Snapp here. Very clearly we can see that O'Donnell is an individual that doesn't seem to really care about correcting this error. You have let it go for a while. He put this error forth. It's been a while already now, hasn't it?
Well, the first time I saw it was May 17th.
Wow.
And after repeated efforts to contact him at Crossway, I got nowhere.
Unbelievable.
That, however, is actually a very, very small attempt, because James White, I've been trying to get him to debate for over 4 years, and the coward still won't debate me.
Yeah. Now James White, that's another individual who very clearly, when it comes to this, like a lot of other things, James White's out of his element when it comes to talking about ancient manuscripts.
If I may,
yeah, brother, go ahead.
Curtis was here. He says Codex Sinaiticus was not found in a trash can. Now, of course, what he would refer to is, if you look in his book, what he says about Codex Sinaiticus, he's all mixed up. James White, as far as I know, has still not retracted his silly claim that he makes in the King's Union controversy about how Sinaiticus was found. He says, in 1844, Tischendorf has seen scraps, has seen mugs bring the scraps of ancient manuscripts. Now, his basis for saying this is Tischendorf's own statement that when he was at Mount Sinai in 1844, he saw these pages. Now, in real life, these weren't scraps. These were large pages of Codex Sinaiticus. What became known as the Codex Sinaiticus. It was the portion called Codex Federico Augustus. If you go to the Codex Sinaiticus website, which is codexsinaiticus.org, you can see on the pages where the library's stamp is on them. It says Leipzig University.
Wow.
It's still there to this day. Anybody can go to the website and see the pages. So they weren't scraps. He just doesn't know what he's talking about. These were complete pages of Codex Sinaiticus, of what became known as Codex Sinaiticus.
And let me lay this down clearly. Was his claim that there was evidence of monks burning scraps of ancient manuscripts? That's the claim he made, but you're pointing out that they were not scraps, and yet he has not retracted this erroneous statement over the years.
Yes, he has been repeatedly invited to come anywhere, any place, anytime. James White, the offer is still good. I will be willing to debate you any place, anywhere, anytime. Name the place.
Yeah, you've called James White out to debate for quite a while. And I know he's got to be aware of it. Have you ever talked to him personally?
I'm not sure because Richard Pierce does a pretty good job of insulating James White against real competition and real exposure when somebody has an expert say against him. But if he doesn't respond to me in 6 months with a debate, I'm going to write a book about him.
Good. And do you have a particular title for that book?
I was thinking of calling it James E.R. White, Confused and Causing Confusion in the Church of God.
Yeah.
But that's just a working title.
Right.
Now,
yeah.
I can guarantee you I won't use this one.
Right.
Although the Bible does say, cursed is he who is slack and negligent in the Lord's work, I think that could be applied to James White. But in the interest of, academic protocol, where you say, oh, he's not a liar, he's just simply misunderstood or misinformed or had a bad day. Well, James White's been having a bad day for about the past 15 years, as far as Mark 16:20 is concerned.
Yeah, he's been having many bad days, it seems.
Yes, in this claim, this is ridiculous. He says every papyrus manuscript we discovered has been represented in the Alexandrian text. That is so silly. If anybody that reads about Papyrus 37, they know that it is Western and not Alexandria. So this is one of many claims that I document, and I didn't document in my book. If he does not retract his claim,
wow,
where he's just saying nonsense.
Anybody
who has trusted this book is being misled.
What a nonsensical claim.
I don't say he's intentionally lying, but they're definitely being misled. And I like to say, okay, suppose there's a man who's lost in the woods, but he sees a guide up ahead. And so he goes up to the guide and says, hey, what's the way out? And the guide says, oh, go west. And after you walk 50 steps west, go north. That's the way. Now, actually, in real life, those instructions are worthless. Yeah. But you have to ask, okay, if the guy goes with these instructions into the woods and gets lost, does it make a difference if the guy was intentionally lying or was just being wrong? Because he's just lost either way.
What a ridiculous claim that he's made here.
This is just one of many I could document. And I intend to in a book. But like I said, I would first like him to actually have the spine enough to debate me.
Has he ever retracted this particular statement here?
As far as I know, James White has not retracted any of these statements.
Yeah, I've never heard James White retract anything.
Nothing of any of these. And as you might know, I was on Sham Sharon's channel and went for 2 hours of everything wrong with this book. and still had not exhausted. I just picked out a top 20 or so. But I
Full
haven't
of
heard
errors.
a thing about retracting all his errors from either James R. White, often his friend and partner in crime, Richard Pierce. I challenge them both. I dare you, James White, come and debate me. I promise. I promise. I will not hurt you badly.
We'll just
I'll be
completely
nice.
refute him. You'll just completely and utterly refute him, though, which is something that it's been done many times over. You've done it already, but when it comes to in a debating platform, in a debating forum, a debating arena, where clearly there'll be more reach, I think that he is wise to avoid you. And I think he's going to continue avoiding you because he doesn't look. Knowing James White, I've never heard James White admit he was wrong about anything ever. So I don't think that he's going to take up the debating challenge and debate you. I just don't see it. So what is the next best thing? You're going to have to write your book, and you're going to have to continue taking him to task because these are pretty bad errors, aren't they, brother?
They are. And the thing is, when people see inaccurate footnotes, they tend to say, okay, well, some manuscripts say this, and some manuscripts that. So it's hard to preach from a shrug.
Yeah.
When somebody says, I don't know if it should be there or not, how are they going to preach with confidence if they're saying, I don't know if it's there? I don't know if this belongs there or not.
Yeah.
In his book, he draws Mark 16:20 into question. He also draws the story of the woman called an adultery into question. And again, with that, I have written a whole book about it. You have the cover of that book?
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. Is it among the covers here? Let me see.
Oh, I think it, but if you get that on Amazon, it's called Jesus and the Adulteress.
Let me find it. I will find that. So you do have it available on Amazon.
Yes. And in other news, I have this. This is called the First Nations version. Now, it's not going to be ever in the top 10, probably. But this is what
Could you show that again? Could you show that again?
Yes. The First Nations version.
Wow.
Now, this is an admirable effort to try to put the New Testament into First Nations language.
Yeah.
What some folks call the American Indians is First Nations. But in this, as I read it, in Mark 69, it says, the footnote says, most ancient manuscripts end this verse. Some others include verses 9 to 20, as we have in this translation. Now, William, when they say most ancient manuscripts, that's not true.
Right.
That's false. They're misinforming every single person that picks this up.
Wow.
The editors are misinforming every single person that reads this.
Yeah.
Why are they misinforming them? Because they themselves have been misinformed by guys like James White and guys like D.S. O'Donnell, who were themselves misinformed by Bruce Baxter. The Bruce Baxter's textual commentary and his other books have kind of a monopoly in academia. Now, I have written this. Part of the reason I wrote it was to replace Metzger's book because people don't realize it because guys like Dan Wallace have said, "Oh, Metzger was a conservative." No, he wasn't. Metzger was an ecumenical fanatic. Metzger went to Rome and went to all these other books. Metzger made the Reader's Digest, and the whole point of this effort that he was in was to build momentum for ecumenical edition. So Metzger's ecumenical fervor affected his scholarship.
Yeah, that's a problem when you are trying to placate just about anybody. That really can lead to a lot of problems. I was able to find the cover for your book, and so here it is. Let me be clear. Jesus and the Adulteress. The case for keeping John 7:53, 8-11 in the Bible. This is available on Amazon. I can confirm for everybody. this is yet another famous area where modern day liberal scholarship is trying to convince Christians that these passages don't belong in the Bible, but you show and you prove that without a shadow of a doubt, the early church utilized this, and this does belong in the Bible. You do hold that position, don't you?
Yes. Now, you can look in James White's book and see what he says about the story of the woman called an adultery.
Yeah.
He'll say, like Daniel Wallace says, that it was a floating tradition, which I say is nonsense.
Right.
Nonsense.
Now, does
Whoever
James
says-
White, what does James
Whoever
White say about
says the
this?
story of the woman called an adultery began as a floating tradition does not know what he's talking about, categorically. It includes D.S. O'Donnell.
Does James White also hold that particular position?
I believe so. I think you can look at his website and find numerous statements to that effect. In fact, if you give me some time, I can turn to it right now.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. That'd be great. Yeah, because that's it wouldn't shock me. It doesn't surprise me at all. But yet again, more examples that you've got. Well, first off, as I've argued very often, I always do argue, liberal academia is going to make a mess of everything. And I don't ever find liberal academias, I don't find their arguments compelling. Very often people take their arguments and take their words almost as if they are some kind of a dogmatic statement, which is very problematic because, look, for my fellow Catholics that are tuning in or Eastern Orthodox or what have you, if you guys who do love the fathers so much, just by looking at what the fathers say, you can clearly see that modern day liberal academia are just totally wrong. They're getting it wrong, and they're doing just a terrible job. Isn't that right, brother?
Yes. Some are worse than others, though. Now, I have James White's book here on page 328 of the second edition.
Okay.
Commenting on John 7:53 through 8:11, he says, the primary internal consideration, aside from the issue of vocabulary and style, is found in the fact that John 7:52 and John 8:12 go together. Now, that's not true.
Right.
Because if you look at the chapter as a whole, you'll see the Pharisees are off having their own discussion, and suddenly after 8:12, that they're with Jesus.
Right.
What happened? Well, the story of the woman called adultery happened.
Mm-hmm.
But he goes on to say that the story of the woman taking adultery interrupts the flow of the text and the events recorded by John regarding Jesus' ministry in Jerusalem. I'll slow down and say this part. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
All of these things taken together make it a near certainty that this passage was not originally a part of the Gospel of John. Now, he's teaching this to other people who are going to be preachers.
Right.
Now, how do you go about saying this is God breathed? Because the Bible says all Scripture is the power of God and is profitable for teaching and so forth, for correction, for training in righteousness, that the man of God may be adequate, perfectly equipped for every good work.
Yep.
But again, it's hard to preach a shrug. And if you go with James White, you're going to say, oh, these 12 verses? Hey, guess what, congregation? John never wrote this. And will they then be comforted by the thought that their sins will be forgiven like the woman's was? Will they see that this woman who was so used by the religious elite, will they have a sense of empathy with her? Or will they say simply, let's erase these 12 verses? If you're James White, that's what you do. James White basically, effectively, erases John 7:53 through 11 and says, oh, preachers, be careful here, because James White, in his book, you should never base a doctrine on a passage that can be drawn into question. Which is to say, in my Bible, it says Do not throw away your confidence because it has great reward.
Yeah.
Now, are there passages somewhere in the Bible where the evidence is finally balanced and you do need a footnote? Yes, definitely. Like in Jude verse 5. But here we have John 17:11, which is in 85% of our manuscripts. We have 1,500 copies, 1,503 copies of John that have the story of the woman called adultery in one form or another.
Wow.
Now, how did it fall out? What happened? How did it go poof and not be there anymore? That's what my book is about.
Yeah, no, definitely. And people have got to get a copy of all of your books. They're all very affordable and indeed all important in laying out this case.
And if it's not if there's anybody that cannot afford it, they can contact me at james.snapp@gmail.com and ask for a copy.
Yeah, you've said that multiple times, which is very, very gracious of you, very charitable, because you realize how vitally important this information is and how people really should have this at their fingertips. They should learn this. They should be able to defend their faith with this knowledge. And I think all of those are great points, brother. You're doing fantastic work. People need to get a hold of these books. The scholarship is second to none. And I mean, I've said it many times before, and I'll repeat it again. If any of these individuals want a platform to debate you on, they can very easily look at past debates I've held, moderated. I've held debates with Catholic and Orthodox, Protestant and Catholic, Protestant and Orthodox, moderated round tables. Not once have I ever been accused of being biased. Never, ever. Not even once. So I've even hosted Calvinists.
In the case of James White, I'm willing to debate him left-handed.
Yeah. You'd be willing to go toe-to-toe with any of them, and to, I think your point is a very well taken one, that you recognize these individuals they're reaching a lot of people, and with that fact that they're reaching a lot of people, you very well are willing to disprove their particular incorrect statements. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
No worries. Nothing was lost. The recording is resumed now. Glad that you're back, brother. Yeah, you were going to say something when I said that, you're willing to debate these individuals, aren't you?
Yes, but in the meantime, I call upon D.S. O'Donnell and Crossway to retract his false statement. Yeah. His demonstrably false statement that Mark 69:20 was not part of Mark until after 190. That is impossible.
Yeah, no doubt. And
also, Peter Head, a scholar over on the other side of the Atlantic, he has claimed that Tatian did not have Mark 16 and 20 in the Tetrad, or that he wasn't sure. But I'm not the only one saying that Tatian had Mark 16 and 20 in the Tetrad. Other scholars have come forward and said so too. And you can find their writings at the Evangelical Textual Criticism blog. That's Evangelical Textual Criticism. Just use the search bar and you can find it. And likewise, at my blog, thetextofthegospels.com, thetextofthegospels.com, just type in the rotation and it'll pop right up. Use the search bar.
Great information there, brother. Great information. I mean, it's just been a jam-packed show where you've thrown the gauntlet down. And I want to be clear, if any of these individuals or anybody qualified, if you think you're qualified, anyone qualified, contact me and I'd be willing to host you coming on to my platform and debating the brother Snapp on this. If you think he's wrong, you think you can disprove him on the historical manuscript information, patristic information, on these biblical texts, you're welcome to contact either of us. We'll host it here on my platform. We've got almost 40K subs. You will definitely be able to put your case forth, and we'll be able to host that in an unbiased, moderated setting. Yes. Brother Snapp,
yes.
Yes,
in this book, brother. I list over 40 patristic references from the time of the Roman Empire. So when D.S. O'Donnell comes out and says, "Oh, it's hardly ever referenced," that's wrong. Over 40 patristic references from the time of Rome are referenced and documented in my book.
Yeah, which is great. Just fantastic information there, brother.
Yes, and also a scholar named J.D. Atkins has proposed that there's an even earlier reference in what is called the Preaching of Peter, and his article can be found at academia.edu.
What was his name again?
J.D. Atkins.
J.D. Atkins. Wonderful. J.D. Atkins. Academia.edu.
He talks about the, I forget what the title of his paper is, but if you look at the Evangelical Textual Criticism blog, I think it shows up there.
Wonderful. Fantastic information, brother. Brother, before we wrap up, I'd like to give you an opportunity to plug in anything else you want to plug in. You want to put a plug for a webpage, any other books, anything else you'd like to put a plug in for. The floor is yours right now, brother.
All right. Well, I've been working on my website. It's which is https://New Testament Textual Analysis.com. Because the name of my one book, which is the replacement for what Manuscript has, which is now obsolete. Manuscript's work is pretty obsolete and in some areas very inaccurate. His claims about the asterisk and opuli, for instance, there's no such thing.
Wow.
Well, there's no such thing as textually relevant asterisk and opuli surrounding Mark 69 this morning in any unannotated manuscripts. What you have is in a cluster manuscript called Family 1, about 20 in all, to have this note that I go into all the details about that in this book. So I'll spare you the details because it's all right here.
And can they find those books linked there at New Testament Textualanalysis.com? Are they there available?
If you want to go there right now and throw up the screenshot, you'll see all of them listed, including my fairy tale.
Yeah, let me see if
I want to make a book for the kids of the scholars to read what the scholars are reading in my other books.
Yeah. See if I can find that. I'll get that in one moment. Audience, be patient. Trying to pull it up.
I'll have the Jeopardy theme. Oh, by the way,
here we go.
I highly recommend this version. This is the Eastern Orthodox version.
It's a great one, put together by the great Reverend Dr. Kleinenberg. Yes, I know him personally.
Yes.
Yeah, very
excellent.
Great. It's fantastic. It's great. I'm with you 100% there. Okay, here we go. There we go. There is your great webpage. Here it is. Wow. Woo. That's awesome, brother.
Yep. And when you click on one of these books, you'll be taken to Amazon where you can buy them. That includes that one. Don't overlook that one because that one in the lower right hand side, that's to John MacArthur.
Wonderful.
So John MacArthur in 2005 had a whole sermon where he said Mark 16:20 is a bad ending. So in this book, I document all the things that John MacArthur has said that are very confused, very misinformed, and simply wrong. So I don't want to call John MacArthur a liar, but I will say his claims are false.
Yeah.
Verifiably false. It's not a matter of opinion. It's not a theological point. He simply has his facts switched up.
Fantastic.
So again, John MacArthur, I invite you to retract your false claims.
He should. If he was a man of if any of these men have integrity, they should retract their false statements for the sake of honesty. Isn't that right, brother?
Yes, and it would also give me. So I get tired sometimes of having to clean up other people's messes.
Yep.
Now, I have sometimes been said, "Oh, James, you're upset about everything," but what I'm upset about is people when they read these books by MacArthur or by James White or by D.S. O'Donnell, they take them seriously, and then they go out and misinform other people. And so by the time you get around to actually fixing the mistake, the false claim has already traveled in 100 different directions. And gives me a lot more work to do to clean up the mess.
And it's always tougher to clean up messes than anything else. It's very, very tough. But yeah, that's a great point. The challenges are out there. If these men are men of integrity, they will retract their false statements.
Yeah, and it's like, James White, I'm trying to help you improve your work. I'm not the enemy.
Yeah. Right.
And yes, no, I'm trying to help you reach out away from what you've read in Messenger to what the facts are.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm trying very hard to say you're simply being misinformed. You're not lying. You've just been misinformed. That's causing you to misinform others, and that's where I come in. Because somebody has to be the one to say this person's claim is wrong, factually wrong.
And you're being very kind by simply saying that they are misinformed. You're being quite kind, and you're being quite charitable there, because very easily one can say that very often when somebody's been corrected over and over and they refuse to correct their errors, that obstinacy seems to be really in place there. That really seems to be.
I hesitate to say obstinacy, but certainly cowardice seems to be in play for James White to be able to go 4 years now without debating me. So
we hope
White,
that
Richard Pierce, you're welcome to respond anytime, any place, anywhere.
You gentlemen, you've heard it. We've offered you this platform. And if you want a bigger one, the brother Sam Shamoon will offer his as well. He's got about 200,000 subs. So he's never been accused of being a biased moderator either. So you've got multiple arenas where you can choose platforms to come and to defend your beliefs against the brother Snapp. And we're going to really hope that you all take up those challenges. Until then, brother Snapp. Yeah, go ahead, brother. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The offer also goes to John D. MacArthur.
Yep.
I have the book about him that I just mentioned. Again, anyone that wants that book, I'll give it to you for free.
There you have it. Now, people, do us a favor and flood the comment section down below for the algorithm so people can get the message out there more of the amazing work that Brother Snapp is doing. Let us know if you've been edified. Let us know what you thought of the show. Flood it. Give us tons of comments down below. Let us know what you thought about it. Give us feedback. Tell Brother Snapp you love what he's doing, because you got to love what he's doing. If you're evangelical tuning in, if you're Catholic, you're Orthodox, and if you're not a believer, you got to become a believer. We love you all, and we hope you all are edified. Brother, we'll be back again soon. Had a great time chatting with you, my friend. God bless you, brother. I'll talk to you again soon, my friend.
All right. See ya.